Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla. You watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new Shoei Neotec 2 modular helmet, available at RevZilla.com. This is the Shoei Neotec 2. Juggernaut within the field of modular helmets. If you are new to the game, what is a modular helmet? This is a modular helmet. It is a helmet where the chin bar flips up for easier access to your face, lack of claustrophobia, if you want to have a cigarette while you ride, but really most people so they can communicate rider to passenger or get a little bit of wind if they are stopping and starting in traffic. People love these lids. Now, this is the Neotec 2 in front of me. Got a bit of a refinement moving into the spring of 2018. This is a Neotec 2 to my left, which has the new SRL, which is essentially a Sena 20S Evo pre-installed. You can buy it separately, and it can be a fully integrated comm unit system. One of the upgrades as they move to the next Neotec 2. On my right, I have the original Shoei Neotec. It came out in the spring of 2012. If we look at it, it is less aggressive. It still has solid lines. This has been a juggernaut, one of the best-selling modulars of all time at RevZilla, really going toe-to-toe with the top end from Schubert as they both continue to iterate. Now I will tell you as I put them next to each other, here's the rundown. Aerodynamics and look got a tweak. This is now a more stable helmet at speed. And in my opinion, it looks better, inclusive of your catfish vent here on the chin, which I actually kind of dig. Now, what they also have done is they've given you the ability to add on this SRL system that I have over here from Sena, and it has its pros and its cons. I'm gonna get more into that in detail, but ultimately you buy it separately for around 300 bucks. Same functionality of a Sena 20S Evo. Install it, everything integrates behind the scenes, inclusive of the battery and the antenna. But here's the problem. If you don't buy it, they've made it harder to put a third-party comm unit on it. You just have to sticky mount it and move it back. So that's the downside. It's more of a closed system. I'm also going to note that the quiet factor was something they really attacked on this helmet. And you're gonna see that the cheek pads, as well as the neck roll on the bottom, it's a more closed area here, really trying to seal it off from air. So again, more stable, better balance, and again, it's going to be a more quiet helmet. Touring, long distance commuting, they want to give you that comfort factor over the long term. I have one major gripe with this helmet. I've nitpicked a little with the closed system on the SRL. The biggest gripe I have is Shoei. You've been working on this helmet, no doubt, since 2012 when the original Neotec came out. It changes a lot of things. They make incremental improvements and move forward. But this helmet is 4 pounds. This helmet's 4.5 pounds. It's the same, it's still DOT. It doesn't carry a Snell or ECE rating, but it's gone up 0.5 ounce. So you're in this 4-pound range. Now, to be fair, Schubert is in the 4-pound range at the high end. But I will tell you, the RFA 90 from HJC, 3.5 pounds. The Sport Modular from AGD, full carbon fiber inclusive of the chin bar, 3 pounds 2 ounces. So if you're optimizing for a phenomenal helmet over the long haul from Shoei with the fit and finish you'd expect to come out of Japan, I've been to their factory, amazing stuff. Go down this road. You're gonna invest over 600 bucks. But if your number one thing is lightweight, there are other options on the market that are gonna save you that weight savings. Now again, really well balanced and aerodynamic helmet, so it offsets that extra weight, but 4 pounds versus close to 3 pounds, you'll feel that on a 200 to 300 plus mile day. Now, let's dive in quickly Fitment, and then I'm gonna take you on the full tour, soup to nuts. If we look at the helmet from a fit standpoint, you're gonna see the profile here. Still 4 shell shapes. Again, you still have the same setup. The last one was intermediate oval. Shoei's tend to run a little bit longer front to back. This is the same fit shape. So it worked for most of the market. They've made really few changes on fit. A little bit longer front to back. Not round, not overly narrow. And some of the other helmets from Shoei tend to get a little more narrow. This one's kind of right down the fairway. Use a size chart, it's spot on. We'll ship free over 39 bucks. Call us if you need help. And ultimately, click our logo, subscribe to us at RevZilla, leave me your comments, requests, your feedback on the new Neotec 2. I'm curious as to what might jump out to you. And again, the fit should throw you no surprises. Now, as we move this guy, it's a little stodgier, and if you put them next to each other, it definitely looks dated compared to the new Juice. I'm gonna work here into my Neotec 2. We'll start outside, work our way in. Now, looking at the side profile, super aggressive, almost steals some more DNA from something like that GT Air. We've talked about the SRL system. We'll get that get to that in a second. Let's start with our mechanism here. Notice the way the side pod is done here. The side pod, again, links up where your chin bar and your face shield integrate. They've streamlined it compared to the last Neotec to this new Neotec 2. What they've also done is they've scalped this profile at the top of the shield. The shield has been completely redesigned. Everything's just a little more narrowed and streamlined. Again, that's going with that aerodynamic profile. And again, the goal here is more stability. You need balance and stability if you're in a little bit of a heavier lid. Now, moving down into our chin bar, and I will tell you, the last helmet was the same weight, and people loved it. Go read all the reviews. Again, if you're new to this, don't fully disqualify it just because it's not one of the lightest modulars on the market. Again, they make up for it in a lot of ways. If we move down here to the chin bar, they've now flared the spoiler down here to break up some of the airflow, again, increasing the stability. So again, more streamlined, different areas of the helmet that help transfer air behind it, break up the air. Again, no buffeting, but you also don't want that vacuum Z coefficient pulling you back. Again, keeping it stable at speed with regard to a multitude of different riding positions. Many people that will ride in this will be 3/4 or potentially upright with different fairings and different windscreen configurations. Shoei takes that into account. I've actually been into their own wind tunnel in their factory outside of Tokyo. Now, if we look at the helmet itself, working our way down into the chin bar here, you're gonna also look, this is our catfish vent, single position, open and close. It's aggressive, it ties in, vents to the shield, but also gives you some great airflow to the face as well. And remember, if we look at our shield here, you're gonna immediately notice the pin lock posts. Pin lock allows you to use the laws of physics to get that double pane window effect. This gives you a pin lock insert in the box. So you're buying this over the $600 mark, you get that included, really eliminating any need for defogging because it's going to be baked in. If we open up our shield here, you'll notice I do have the drop down sun visor. It's a side actuated. This mechanism is cable actuated on the side here, easy to find. Again, that hasn't changed, doesn't click, it's not annoying, it stays in place and it comes down plenty far enough. It's also optically correct, which is a nice touch. So again, that doesn't take anything away. It allows you to not have to buy a secondary shield. And if we look at the gasket here, big weatherproof gasket all the way around, again, the entire port here. And what you're also going to have is this mechanism on the side with the spring load that brings it back and creates that tight seal. So again, head checks at speed, you're not gonna get a ton of air creeping in, but especially in inclement weather, you're not gonna get wet. Again, great seal working there. They've refined the top vent on this helmet. Again, 10mm vent holes venting to the inside of the helmet. And ultimately, the last version of that lid didn't look as aggressive, but was easier to use. One of my gripes on this helmet is open, close. Very simple, big scoops here in the front, very effective. But unless, I can imagine when you get wet, or if you are using a glove that maybe has Clarino, doesn't have any silicone, or doesn't have any grip on it, it's gonna be harder. You know where that is, but again, they could have given you something that would give you a little bit more positive traction there, or created a lip like they had on this last one. That's just very easy to find. But they've minimized it, they've dropped it down. They're probably trading off streamline for usability there. Again, there's no perfect solution on that one. Moving here to the back, this is a passive Venturi vent, allowing more moist air to be sucked out of the helmet by the natural vacuum over the sphere at speed that is creative. That Venturi effect helps extract that air out. Again, used to be able to close this vent. Now, based on the spoiler and the orientation of the vent panel, they even gave you a little bit of a lip here to deflect air. More aerodynamics, and the positioning doesn't really make you worry about getting any inclement weather in there. So ultimately, they took away the need to have an actuated panel. Nice big scoop around here to the back, and you can see how it finished it off down to the bottom. Now, we have talked, as I'm about to flip this over, about this comm unit a little bit, but look at this. If you're going to put a sticky mounted comm unit, say you really like what Cardo's doing these days, you're gonna have to put it back here, and you have to reach too far back. So again, they went a little Steve Jobs on us here, where a closed system means you have a lack of flexibility to do what you want when you bolt onto it. Open systems allow for that flexibility. By them saying, hey, we have a partnership with Sena, we really want you to buy Sena. Sena makes one of the best products on the market at this point with the Sena 20S Evo and their consistent evolution of these products. But now you get the benefit of integrating it, not having anything throw off the aerodynamic profile, but you don't have the option of putting somebody else's comm unit in here, which is a little bit of a bummer to me. Now, if I reach over here, and I grab my donut, I'm gonna show you how this really works in. And remember, 20S Evo is a lot of riders, a mile of range, 10 hours of talk time, 7 days of standby. Watch our detailed breakdown actually on the Sena 20S to understand all of the functions that go into this SRL system. And again, I'm showing you this, it's not installed on this helmet here. I keep pointing to it, that's the panel. It's actually installed right over here. But what'll happen is that this panel removes, the battery goes into here, into the back side of the lid, and then it really snakes through. What I should really do is show you what that looks like really quickly, because we have it on this guy. So ultimately, if you come over here, it actually moves to the right side, wind canceling, voice activated. Notice how it installs right there. You can see this panel comes off, but it doesn't do anything. Installed right there, and there's the battery. Again, so there's your SRL system. Has some positives, more aerodynamically sound, fully integrated, lighter weight. Negatives are a little bit harder to install because that's to sit behind everything. And again, the fact that they did it eliminates the ability to put somebody else's device on. So if we look at the bottom here, here's key change here in the bottom of this lid. Notice the tightness of the entry and exit point. We're seeing more manufacturers do this. By closing this gap and sealing it off, you're actually improving the wind noise factor of this helmet. So one of the ways that they're eliminating noise is they can't control what kind of collar you're wearing. They can't control your fairing. They can't control your windscreen or your riding position. But what they can do is they can minimize the ability for that turbulence under the ears and around the neck roll. So just kind of creating a better seal. Notice they have gone to a double D ring to a micrometric here. So this is the first time we've seen them do this. Again, if I can find it there on camera, there you go. You're going to be able to open that up and move it out. And it is a double jointed system, so what it's not going to do is accidentally open when you don't want it to open. You can see how kind of the guts are put together. What I should do is really open this guy and start to uninstall things. If we look on this side, the double D-ring is going to make it a little bit harder. I'm going to close my face shield and start removing parts here. What you're going to see is this neck roll goes all the way around. Just like that. It actually pops off pretty easy. They didn't overcomplicate things. Again, new contour to the cheek pad. Cheek pad's going to be supportive. Again, antimicrobial wicking, ability to be removed and rinsed and kept gunk-free over time. And then what you also have, if we look in here, is going to be this area and this speaker cutout, which gives you the ability to put that big, thicker Sena 20S speaker in there. Ultimately, dropping it in, it's not going to create a pressure point. I'm going to fully remove the interior guts here. Stay with me. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to call out that the mechanism for closure has not changed on this helmet. And I'll tell you, I absolutely love what they just did here, which going to the D-ring can really be a pain in the butt in removing these cheek pads. But notice how they cut that out, so it doesn't have to go through the full loop. It just slides in, and they gave you a much bigger hole. Again, this tab really is just making sure that that micrometric doesn't come into contact with your skin and chafe you or hurt you. Now, if I open it fully up here, you're going to see our comfort liner. Start to pull it out, back to front. Notice 2 snaps at the back, and what I like here is they've done plastic at the front. 0 pressure points at the front. Notice 3D, big cutouts. Different densities of foam will hold up well over time, premium materials, and your 2 snaps, you'll never feel these. They go down below the occipital ridge on your head, again, fully tucking out of the way. And we look at the ventilation scheme, big channels, 10mm vent holes in a multitude of places, pulling all of the air through this helmet to keep you ventilated. Again, you need to be able to ride this in Texas in the summer, which I've done on that Three Sisters ride. Yes, West Texas Hill Country. You also need to be able to take this helmet and ride it to Prudhoe Bay if you so desire. And you need to be able to close everything up, create a great tight seal. And again, if you're in a position where you're having those 500-mile days, the creature comforts, the wind noise, and the aerodynamic balance to this helmet are going to come into play. And again, they have to, because they're going to need to offset the fact that at 4 pounds, it is what I would consider up towards the top end of the range from a weight side of things. So when we think about the Neotec 2, the sum of the changes actually becomes a large body of work. But at first glance, it's going to seem like an evolution or refinement really to styling before you get into the weeds. It did go up $50. It's still over the $600 mark. Now it's in the mid-6s. And you always, as typically the fashion with Shoei, a ton of solid colors on this guy, which for the touring crowd typically are what people more gravitate to versus the graphics. Now, the next step in your journey is to click the info button, your desktop, your mobile device. Visit the product detail page at RevZilla.com. Read other rider reviews. You shouldn't just take my word for it. As always, we'll ship free over $39. You want to talk to a gear geek, see us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our detailed breakdown of the new Shoei Neotec 2. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.